Folks, this is all the fruit. Here I want to show you another beautiful old cherry tree in the vicinity of Heidelberg, Germany. This is quite an old fruit growing area, and especially since the railroads started conquering Germany like 150 years ago, cherries basically became a big business around here. Like there were areas, well, actually most of the important fruit growing areas in Germany are somewhere along the Rhine and its side rivers. Here in the mountains, in the Odenwald mountains, here you had a lot of cider trees and stuff. In the really high mountains you had a lot of cherry trees for brandy. But here, in the more favorable climate, you basically had very early cherry trees for export for the fruits, which of course could be done only in a meaningful large-scale way since the railroad came here. And so yeah, since the end of the 19th century, cherry trees had been a big money crop around here. And from time to time you can still find giant old cherry trees which could be up to 100 years old. Now this business has declined a lot because, yeah, picking cherries from big cherry trees is a lot of work, and there are cheaper countries than Germany, but you can still find locally grown cherries sold on Heidelberg markets. Let's look at this beautiful tree. Well, if you look at the normal stem of the tree, well, where is it normal? Basically nowhere. Oh. Actually, it seems like there was a second branch here that fell off. Well, the stem is very crooked and bent and twisted. And yeah, of course, like most of those old trees, it's hollow. And probably people have thought that it's gonna die for the last 20 years, but it's still alive. Well, when we take the twisted stem at about chest height, it's not that thick. Well, a little bit more than chest height, like here, like 1.80 meters or 6 feet above ground. It's not that thick, maybe 70 centimeters. But when we get to ground level with those big bumps, this is well over a meter, maybe what, 1.20 meters, 1.30 meters, and it's even after the second stem broke off. It seems like it was smaller than the main stem. There seems to be a lot of secondary growth here. Even this part of the stem on the right looks like looks almost like this was a separate stem and then it merged with this one. Really interesting tree. I must say that I didn't know about this tree. Actually pretty much 20 years ago I came here to check for a plot that the city wanted to buy for conservation purposes. It was not this plot, I think it was one of the nearby plots, and it had a couple of such ancient cherry trees on it. And then I told the guys from the cities excitedly, yeah, that's a wonderful place for conservation. It's an ancient orchard with lots of giant cherry trees. And I showed them the photo and they said, no, are you sure it's this plot with the cherry trees? Because we have no use for this. But the rhubarb field on the side, there was a rhubarb field 20 years ago in one of those fields. If it's this, we're gonna buy it at once. And they said, why do you want to buy a rhubarb field that has almost no value for nature conservation, but you will skip on those beautiful ancient fruit trees? They said, yeah, because we need it like as a compensation for some building projects we are doing. So if you have a rhubarb tree, we can plant a lot, if you have a rhubarb field, we can plant a lot of young fruit trees there, and we can upgrade it from a rhubarb field to an orchard, which will be accepted as legal compensation for some new building or cutting down an old orchard for a road construction or something. But an orchard with ancient 1 meter thick cherry trees, we cannot upgrade this to anything. This is already the most valuable thing you can get here. So we are not gonna buy it. And I said, yeah, and what happens if somebody else buys it and wants to cut down the cherry trees. They said, well, they have no legal protection. They might be over 100 years old, but they're not officially registered as protected trees. So yeah, if somebody wants to take their chainsaw to those old cherry trees, as long as they do it in winter, yeah, unfortunately they have no legal protection. Ancient cherry trees like this one, which could be from the beginning of the 20th century. I don't think it's from the 19th century. It's not that old, but it could be from the 20s or 30s. No legal protection. You want to make a parking space for your car here, and this place belongs to you. Yeah, you can cut this down. It's amazing how bad German nature conservation laws often are. Well, at least a lot of the owners, they really cherish their old fruit trees, and here in the area, as I said, they are mostly old cherry trees. Also a couple old pear trees. This one over there should also be well over 80, 90 years old, maybe older. But the cherry trees are usually the most impressive ones here. This one, they cherish the old cherry trees. Look how small my hand is even compared to this bump, and they have a big fat hand. And look how small this bump is compared to the whole tree. Yeah, so folks, this was this beautiful ancient cherry tree here in the fields outside of Heidelberg, Germany. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and incredibly fruit-rich city of Heidelberg in Germany. And of course, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.